Hey guys, welcome to another adventure project vid, and this is going to be the first adventure on Farland Isle, and we had a lot of fun. We did use a new game system with it, and so the players were learning. So I'm not going to do play vids per se, but I'm going to do some kind of recap vids with you guys if you're interested in seeing what happened. So yeah, so the players are on a ship, and they're leaving essentially the old world to the new world, with a lot of opportunities and adventure opportunities, and they're on an old ship. The captain's a little gruff, and the ship. They're not sailors, but the ship seems to creak quite a lot. Like it seems like it's not in good shape. But they did get the bargain pass. Hey, that always seems good until something happens. And the ship's a little too overladen. He's taking too many supplies, and of course that's fine as long as the weather's good, but as soon as this huge storm starts rearing up, the players are fighting for their lives, and of course the ship comes to pieces, and the next thing you know, they wake up and they're on the beaches of Farland Isle. So let's go to the table and I'll talk more about that. Our party consists of Nyx, an elf assassin, Papini, a gnome warrior, Zook, an orc shaman and his ferret, Titania Tinkletoes, and Ella, a wizard. For this gaming campaign, I was going to run the game with Tales of Blades and Heroes, which is a miniatures based RPG, and I really liked the how it ran. So I'll talk more about that later, but right now let's get on with the adventure. So the players find themselves washed up on the shore with all the wreckage. They start to come to. Papini, the gnome warrior on the end of the beach, wakes up to a scream, and her curiosity gets the better of her, and she heads down the beach to see what it was. The others are just sort of kind of coming to, and they hear something splashing in the water behind them, and they jolt up, and it is some kind of fish creature lunging out of the water at them. They end up dispatching it and meet up. They kind of knew each other on the ship, but weren't really a party, so they're just kind of comrades by association right now. They're all in this situation. And they soon realize that Papini the warrior doesn't have her armor. They did have their weapons on them, but Papini the warrior doesn't have her armor, and they go searching down the beach to see if they can find some chests or trunks or anything washed up on the beach. As they find some stuff, but as they continue on the beach looking for more stuff, they see some of the fishmen kind of scrounging around at a piece of the wreck, looking through stuff. Papini had found something that looked like someone had been dragged in the water, so they realized that these guys were probably looking for victims. So a fight ensues as they see each other, and they also see some supplies scattered on the beach, so it's another good reason to fight. So they end up dispatching the fish folk and having some really good luck in finding Papini's armor, actually her chest, as well as some other things that she had in it. So that was helpful. They did find some food too, which was really nice, and so that will give them some time so they won't starve to death, so they can find some more stuff. One of the other characters who has some cartography skills realizes that this is Farland Isle. Well, they knew they were passing Farland Isle, but knows a little bit about the island, and tells them that there's cliffs all the way around the island, that they'll have to somehow scale up those cliffs. But she did notice when she looked up at the cliff face that there were some dragon hawks flying around near the top of the cliff. And it's actually several hundred feet high, so not going to be an easy climb. So the party moves on, and they're kind of trying to look for some shelter maybe, or some more supplies, and they find a cave. And the cave has some pillars at the end
for an ancient civilization called the Atletians, which died out long time ago. So they enter the cave. The cave is flooded, and they enter the cave and they start plodding through the waist-high water, which is higher on some than others. The fairy takes to fluttering in so she doesn't get wet. And while they're plodding through the water, one of the lumps that they thought was a rock turns out to be a large carnivorous fish, and it leaps up and attacks them, does a big splash. They have to fight it in the water, so they finally take care of it. The mage rather ingeniously takes care of it, and so they move on further into the cave, and they find a rock section that's been out of the water, and so they climb up on that, and they see what looks like the skeleton of a person, a trunk and a crate, and they see an old fire that looks like it had been out for a long time. So as they investigate, they see that the skeleton belonged to an old man, and they realize this from like he doesn't have a lot of teeth and this kind of thing. So they look at the fire, the old fire. It's been out for quite some time, but they do realize that the water must not raise high enough to wash all this stuff away. So they're fairly safe in here for the moment. So they see that the fire has some magical stones around it, and the wizard activates the fire and controls the fire elemental in the fire that gives them some good information about the island that they'll have to find a way up, find a way to climb up. When the players rifle through the stuff, they find some. The wizard finds a magical book, which is nice for the Tails and Blades system because wizards have to learn power words. So that's kind of my in to give the wizard a way to learn power words. But they also find a wand, so they test the wand. They waste a few charges trying to figure out what it does, and they realize it does spider climb. So, and they ask the fire elemental, why didn't the guy climb up? But he was an old man. She said he was an old man, and that he didn't have the strength to climb up. Although he had the means, he didn't have the strength. So they do have the wand now, which has enough charges to get them up the rock face. So that's nice. Also, the shaman had a vision before they entered the cave, and the vision was of a magical fountain. And so the wizard asked the fire elemental about that, and the fire elemental tells them that it's the fountain of youth, and that's what he was seeking. But unfortunately, he just couldn't climb up the rock face. He wasn't strong enough to do it. So, yeah, so they decide they'll stay here for the night. The wizard does manage to seal up the cave, which is pretty nice, so they don't have any of those fish folk come in and try to eat them, which that's a good thing. So they spend the night there, then come back out on the beach, and they figure that they're going to do is kind of move some of the wreckage further into the beach. So maybe if they need to make a boat or some kind of something with the debris, that they'll be able to do that. So they start moving that stuff in, and a few of them don't make their perception checks, and they're busy moving wood to the far end of the beach. Some of the others who do notice that some more of the fish folk are coming out of the water, so there's a large pitched battle with a leader, which is pretty tough. But the players manage to dispatch them, and all is no one dies, so that's good. Players manage to dispatch them, and all is good. And so now they are faced with how are they going to get up these cliffs to the island, which will happen next time.
Hey guys, I hope you enjoyed this video recap of my first game on Farland Isle. Also, if you really like this type of stuff, make sure to check out two resource sources I have. They're in my description for the vid. It is my Facebook page and my forum. There's some great people on there, always willing to give advice, wonderful community, so make sure you join that. I also use the Tales of Blades and Heroes from Ganesha Games for this adventure. And if you're interested, I could do a video on that, or you could visit their website and pick up the rules. They're super cheap, based on their miniature skirmish game, Song of Blades and Heroes. I really like the system, so if you're interested in some cheap rules that are really geared for miniatures, check it out.